Bob and Jeannie are going to offer some remarks also, and then we can get to the questions, right?
Yep.
Yes, thank you, Bishop Burbidge, and thank you to all the pastors and parochial vicars for taking the time to allow us to speak with you about this year's Bishop's Lent Appeal. We're very grateful for the work each of you annually do for the BLA, and this appeal continues to be so successful due to the strong support of you, the priests. There are many elements of carrying out this annual plan, and the full details are covered in the Parish Leadership Manual. Jeannie and I will now touch on a few key areas that make a significant difference in running a successful plan. Now, first, just to remind all of you, letter number 1 from Bishop Burbidge goes in the mail this Friday, so parishioners will start to receive it next week, and approximately 60% of the gifts come in from direct mail. I also have some very good news that Bishop was very thrilled to hear. We had a challenge gift that we had received this year, and as we went to mail, that challenge gift was around $300,000, but that has since increased. We have a challenge gift of $500,000 that Bishop Burbidge has received to help us once again allow you to have a motivation to your parishioners for those people that increase their gifts. So wonderful news that we're already off to that start with $500,000 already pledged for this year. Participation of all families is one goal that each of us can share. Each parish should seek to attain the maximum number of gifts possible. Last year, 40 parishes received 30% or more participation in their parishes, and then we had 34 parishes that had less than 30% participation. As a diocese, we average around 35% of families making a gift, and that even takes place in some of our largest parishes with having that level of participation. Talking about the parish financial goal does not always lead a person to the same outcome as when they see that their gift is very important and needed, and we tell them how important it is that they participate. Jeannie Combas is now going to explain a few more items to you.
Right, and before I start, I also want to mention on the Q&A session, which will follow our remarks, if you have questions that pop up in your head along the way, please feel free to enter them, and then we'll go through, I'll moderate them at the ending. We'll try to get to as many as we can, but if you have a question, you don't have to wait until the ending. You can enter them in as we speak, and then we'll go through them at the end of our remarks. I just want to touch on a couple things. Bishop Burbidge mentioned the video that we're having recorded tonight at the Bishop's Lenten Appeal event, where Tim had spoken, he had spoken and actually addressed diocesan finances and the abuse crisis in our church. So that will be available on a link. We're encouraging all pastors and parochial vicars, parish staff, and lay volunteers for the BLA to view this video. We think it has great information. We've heard really positive feedback from the people that were there, which is what inspired us to record it tonight. So we'll be having that available. We're going to email it to you, and then we will also have it on the diocesan website. And there's information in the Parish Leadership Manual as well, but it's also in the lay speaker remarks that we want them to talk about it when they do their remarks. Identifying lay volunteers. In the past week or so, you should have received an email from Rochelle Ramirez in our Office of Development. It went to your diocesan email address, which was a list of the top donors that gave to the BLA from last year's Bishop's Lenten Appeal. And we think this has been a great recruiting tool because you're looking for people that you know are interested or have participated in the BLA, and these are your top donors in your parish. So please look for that in your diocesan email box. If you don't have it or you need another copy of it, please feel free to let me know after this, and I'll be glad to send you another copy of that. The lay speaker weekend is February 9th and 10th, and this is where we ask a lay volunteer, as be a finance council member or a strong BLA leader in your parish, to speak for 2 or 3 minutes about the BLA and touch on the programs and ministries that the Bishop's Lenten Appeal funds. In addition to mentioning the mailing that comes in the homes, we also added information about the video, so we can talk about that. And we also have many quotes from people who have benefited from the Bishop's Lenten Appeal. We have quotes from seminarians, from clients of Catholic Charities, from Gabriel Project, and many other programs and ministries that they can use to help them build support for the Bishop's Lenten Appeal in your parish. But we found that this 2 or 3 minutes set aside during Mass at some point draws special attention from just a pulpit announcement, and people will pay attention to it, and then they'll hear all the great things that Bishop's Lenten Appeal does and in their parish.
I want to touch on Announcement Weekend. It's one of the 2 important weekends for the Bishop's Lenten Appeal. This year, announcement weekend is February 23rd and 24th. On that particular weekend, Bishop Burbidge asked that each homily in our diocese include remarks that tie the program supported by the BLA to the readings of the day. By explaining how the BLA is critical to our diocesan mission, asking people to pray and think about their sport, it sets up commitment weekend that follows the next weekend with the MQ process. As Bishop had noted, he believes the abuse crisis issue should be talked about, and we will be sending you some suggested remarks for your consideration to use about the church abuse crisis in the BLA. Additionally, Father Scalia will be drafting some homily suggestions that may be of assistance to you when you're preparing your own homily. And the bishop asked that pastors discuss with parochial vicars the homilies for that weekend. With the current issues in the news, some pastors have told me they plan to speak at all masses on both announcement and commitment weekend. So we leave that to the pastor and the parochial vicars to work that out. Commitment weekend is March 2nd and 3rd, and pastors are asked to speak at each mass with a brief homily and read the bishop's letter to parishioners. And then pastors lead the MQ process as volunteers hand out pledge envelopes row by row. Again, Father Scalia will provide some suggestions that may be of assistance to you with the homily. And there are several key steps in the MQ process that I will now turn it back to Jeannie to walk through with you.
Which is the best part, the MQ process. Everyone's favorite part about the BLA. But just to give you an idea of how important the MQ process is, it brings in about 43% of all BLA pledges, or last year about $6.5 million. So if you take away the MQ process, it's taking away about a third of the BLA funding. Preparation is really the key to success with the MQ process. Nothing has really changed from prior years. The process is still the same that it's been. We're trying to get everyone back to the same page and have less modification of this process this coming year. So just a few things to note as you move forward on the Bishop's Lenten Appeal MQ process. Just having your staff check all of your materials to be sure you have enough a week in advance. So if you do feel that you need more, we have plenty of time to send you enough materials for that weekend and for the follow-up weekend. Ensuring that you have enough trained volunteers for all masses on commitment weekend, and getting volunteers to like preload the MQ envelopes with a pencil so they're ready to hand out. I know that some parishes have said they use students that need service hours to do this, so that's been helpful for them. And then, of course, just getting the stacks of envelopes ready, fanning them so they can be easily distributed and quickly distributed at Mass. And then I guess the last one, which is the most important through the years that I've been doing this Bishop's Lenten Appeal, is just passing out the MQ envelopes and not just leaving them sitting at the end of the pew or in the pew pockets. I've talked to a couple of parishes just through the years that one of them was just leaving them at the end of the pew, and we talked about ways that they could increase their BLA participation. The next year, they just changed that one thing and handed out each row by row, and it made a huge difference in the number of pledges that they got. So even just something small like that really does make a big difference. The actual handing out, nobody needs to raise their hand to get one. Every row should just get a stack that the person passes down the row. And then also the guiding the parishioners through the steps of filling out the pledge card. I have heard comments, it's a little simplistic, but honestly, if you just walk them through it, just, step by step, everyone's working on the same pace. So that way it really does help it go through more quickly, and everyone's finishing at the same time. That way they can be collected quickly. People, if you leave them to their own devices, everyone works at different speeds. This way you are the pastor leading them through step by step. Everyone wraps it up together, and it really does help things go more quickly. All of this information is, of course, included in the Parish Leadership Manual, which will be posted on the website this week. And then we have our BLA training meetings next week for any new pastor, staff person, or parochial vicar that would like to come and just get the full BLA experience at a BLA training session. So thank you for letting me share this information. And I'm always happy to hear your feedback or suggestions. I really do, you are the ones out there in the parishes that make all of this happen. So please let me know anytime if you have an idea or suggestion you'd like to share them. I welcome it.
Again, thank you for your time and hearing these critical points that we wanted to make known to you. And again, as Jeannie was saying, please contact us by email, phone call. We're always available to try to be of assistance with you. Thank you.